of it, and then once we get to a certain point, they kind of take over, which is nice. It balances really well for everybody.
The mortgage coach, DFW, and we've got the other side of Nathan and Tiffany here at SiteGuard Inspections. Welcome, Tiffany.
Thanks for having me.
So we've been just kind of chatting for a minute. I want to dive into branding.
Okay, let's do it.
So tell me why, before we kind of get into this, why do you love this side of the business where Nathan's on the worker bee side,
right?
You're on the other worker bee side, but you're the analytics behind, the mastermind behind what actually goes on here. So tell me why.
For me, one, I don't like to sweat unless there's a purpose. So like unless you're working out or something like that, that's just not my strong suit. Okay. Nathan is, and his team that he has in the field, Brandy and Jeff, they are excellent when it comes to that, and they have a different side of detail and results oriented focus than I do. So my focus is more about education and building our brand and working on all the back end of the stuff. So it takes somebody who's really detailed to do that kind of stuff, and someone who can really time management, make lists, stick to it, and start just checking things off, but also somebody who wants to see the progress on the back end of things, not so much on the front end. And so that's where I get to start. I start at the beginning of it, and then once we get to a certain point, they kind of take over, which is nice. It balances really well for everybody.
For sure. So tell me a little bit, because we host a ton of classes, and I think that's why I love doing life with you. What's your favorite part of just teaching a class? Like, why is that kind of your niche, right? Because we all kind of have our niches. Why do you love teaching agents how to grow their business?
So for me, it stems from us actually building our business. So there was a lot of R&D, or research and development, that went into actually building our business and building our brand. And I learned so much, because real estate was not my past life. Corporate was my past life, and planning and buying was my past life. So having to switch that mindset over to being a business owner and knowing what it's going to take to have a brand and build the brand, and then once you've created it, stick to it. It was definitely a shift in mindset. And I think sometimes in real estate, realtors don't realize that it's the same way. Like, you may work for a brokerage, but you own a business. You are a business owner. You have to manage your time as a business owner. And so the education of that, and letting them know that, and empowering them to realize that, like I did myself, is it's just great. Like, when you see the look on their face, the recognition of it, that they are a business owner too, and that these are things that they can do, because it's not a secret. There is a roadmap.
There is.
This is how you do it. You've done it. I've done it.
It's a good roadmap.
There are tons of people out there who do it. And once you see that recognition and the light in their eyes and the passion, like, that's it.
So why does brand matter, right? Because we're in an ever-evolving market, right? Like, I feel that, I got into really real estate. I like to make fun in our classes, because I've been in it since country life. But really on the retail side since 2017. So I'm on my 5-year mark with Verity Mortgage. Love them. But tell me why branding today, like pre-COVID, post-COVID, in COVID, why does it matter more today than ever?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so branding is so important for a couple of reasons. One, when you see the swoosh, or you see the triangle, or you see the big C with the little chicken feathers hanging off of it, you see the golden arches, you see the W, you know what those things are for. You know we're talking about Chick-fil A, you know we're talking about Whataburger, you know we're talking about McDonald's and Nike. And when you see those things, it doesn't have to have the words to it. The symbols, they've done such a good job of branding themselves and staying true to that brand that now the symbol itself, it speaks for you, right? So when it comes to branding, the reason it's important and why it's so important to make sure you stay true to your brand is because you want people to recognize you. We want people, when our inspectors show up, we want them to know the blue shirt. When I'm at a marketing event, we want them to know to look for the lady in blue. We want them to realize who we are from a distance even if they don't know the company name, they know the colors.
That's right.
They know the logo. They know what to look for in a crowded room. And so that's why it's important. Why it's important to stick to your brand is because if you're not talking about your brand and how important it is, and you're not staying true to the values that you've created within your brand, then people get confused. Your consumers get confused. Your realtors get confused. Your clients get confused. Pre-COVID, it was important because we were building. And we're still building. During COVID, it was even more important because we weren't in front of people face to face. It was virtual. So making sure that on a virtual platform, on a social media platform, that we were talking about the important things and we were still staying true to our color schemes and our values, because we weren't having that face-to-face connection. We weren't having that interaction. It was even more important to do it then. And now post-COVID, people are so used to that digital world that it's important to stay true to that on social media, but to continue to grow and advance so that we're now in front of them again. But what we're saying on social media is what they're also seeing in the classroom, is what they're also seeing in the field. And so making sure that you're always sticking to what your brand message is, that you're always sticking to those colors, you're always sticking to your values.
It's like rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Right,
it's like
absolutely.
Model,
Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste.
So one hurdle that maybe real estate agents have today is because they are kind of finding their niche brokerage. And a lot of agents, especially new in the field, feel, and I feel personally, that they feel that they have to brand themselves in them colors around their brokerage because that's kind of the way of the world. Right. Do you agree or disagree?
No. I completely disagree, and for a couple of reasons. So when you picked Verity, you picked them because they had the same value system that you did.
100%.
When we created SiteGuard, we picked the colors we did, we picked the themes that we did, we picked the values that we did because they matched our value system and they matched who we were as people. And so when we bring on our staff, we look for those same things and they pick us because of it. So when you're picking your brokerage, yes, it's important. Make sure they have the same values as you, the same ethics as you, that they work in a way that makes sense for your personality, your family, and your life. But
you can have a team name and you can powered by.
But when you're branding, it's about you. Or you, the person, it's about you. It's not about who you work for. So while you work for Verity, you're the mortgage coach. And you've taken that and you've made it your own. Everybody knows to look for you in red and black with your heels on, whether that's a football game on Friday night, whether that's tacos on Tuesday, whether that's in a classroom, whether that's winding down on Wednesday, whatever it is. They're going to find you in your heels. They're going to find you in your branded apparel. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter if your favorite color is leopard print.
Or pink.
Or pink.
I want to see the pink because I have some agents that have hot pink and it's phenomenal. And it's got powered by brokerage, right? And as long as it's track certified and your broker approves it, then it has
to be about you, because what people are buying is they're buying you. You are the brand. They're buying me, they're buying you, they're buying your personality and your connection to them. So while you may work with a brokerage, it's important to ensure that your values and their values match up. It's also important. Actually, yes. But what it is making sure that they understand your personality. And if you're not putting that out there, then it can sometimes get a little confusing, and they may just go with you because of the brand and the brokerage that you work for, which is great in the beginning. Go with somebody that is well known and respected. But you have to build who you are in this industry because it's all about relationships.
It's about relationships and longevity, right? Real estate is not about the sprint today, but it's about the marathon, the long time. So a couple questions. What are your favorite classes to teach? I know my favorite classes. What are your favorite classes to teach?
So I know you love teaching social media. You're phenomenal at it, and people, they need that. They need to know that that's where the future is in terms of business. For me, it's teaching their branding. It's giving them education and awareness on how to create and build a relationship. So one of my favorite classes to teach is Selling Across the Generations.
It's a favorite class. That is a dynamic class.
It tells you how to talk to all these different kinds of people.
Right.
Because how I talk to you as my fellow colleague, as a fellow affiliate, or a realtor that's the same age as us,
right,
is going to be different than somebody like Nathan's mom, who we talked about earlier,
right,
who is a 40-year veteran in the business.
Right.
Or somebody who is brand new, who's only been licensed for a month and is, a month, 10 days.
10 days, and I was like, oh, welcome to the show.
There's a bunch of classes you need to take. Let me list them out for you. But just teaching them how to do that, because you can totally destroy a relationship with body language, with verbiage, with how you respond to somebody, whether that is through the phone, through email,
tonality,
right?
Because the tone that we have, sometimes it's interjected as the wrong way. So tonality of how to speak to millennial versus baby boomer or Gen X or Gen Z, like they're completely different.
Completely different. And it's so crazy, the vast differences. Now there is some crossover, but that is probably one of my favorite classes to teach.
Okay.
Another class, I don't teach it personally, Nathan actually teaches it, but it's myth versus fact on inspection. So what is a myth versus what is a fact? What is it that our inspectors are supposed to do when they go out there? What is it that they're looking at? Do you really understand what is happening when they're there? And just kind of dispelling some of the facts that maybe people think are, because at the end of the day, communicating with the realtor as to what's supposed to happen and what they think happens is sometimes different. And so it's a great way for them to sit down and understand that yes, we may look at certain systems within the home, but there are certain systems that we can't look at, or there are certain items we can't look at or don't look at because we didn't install that water purifier, and that's not something that's typically found in a home. And so we have to let them know and educate them that somebody who installed that is who would inspect it. And so while it's important and we understand it's important, that's not necessarily something that would be a part of the process. And so it's little things like that. Understanding that optional systems are not mandatory for a regular home inspection. And so, we're talking sprinklers, pools, septic, well water, thermal. There's all this stuff that isn't standard to a home inspection. And so having the actual professional stand in the room and answer those. That's Nathan. And answering those questions and putting that out there, it's such an impactful class, especially if you're a new realtor and you don't necessarily understand the entire process. Or maybe you're just a veteran and
you need
a refresher, or maybe you thought you knew but you don't know. I mean,
for sure. And that's what we're seeing right now is a lot of I like to call them veteran real estate agents. They do need a refresher because some of them, it's not that they're set in their ways, but times are changing so much right now, and it's kind of like a revolving of we got to get it done. Right.
Well, and sometimes it's a matter of a COVID reset, right? We were all so isolated and so put into our homes that we didn't really have the opportunity to be in front of people. And so sometimes with the Selling Across Generations, you forget how to interact with people, but also sometimes you just forget industry stuff. I mean, I'm human. I forget things every day. And, this is my job. This is my brand, my company. And there are times that I'm like, oh, darn it. And so it's just a reset. It's a matter of just getting out there and making sure that you're on top of your game.
Excellent. I love that. So, Tiffany and I love absolutely teaching you guys how to grow your business.
Yes.
If you would like to reach out to myself or Tiffany for a list of classes, go for it. You can always follow me at the Mortgage Coach DFW. Tiffany, I know people can get a hold of you.
Yes.
The Lady in Blue. How?
You can find the Lady in Blue, myself, or any of my team on any social media platform at SG Inspections. You can find us on our website at sginspectionservices.com. You can call us at 972-979-7346, or you can email me at tiffany@sginspectionservices.com.
There you go. And we'll have all the information in the show notes once we're done. So once again, I'm Glenda White, the mortgage coach, DFW. Until next time, go be